Okay. Hello, everyone. It's me, Vernisa, SpeakUpJV, and I'm here with Cantly Elliott of Blaze Review, and this is the Fastbreak podcast. What's up?
Nothing much. I'm in a very different state as a basketball fan from our last pod we recorded. But we'll get into that later on. So
Yeah.
good to be with you again.
Likewise, yeah, we
Yeah.
will, we will get into it. We'll start it off slower, but y'all. So as during this whole series, this whole podcast series, we've been talking about the playoffs. We have finally made it to the big moment, which is the finals. Game one just happened yesterday for us on our end. What are your thoughts so far? Wow.
I think so. It's funny. I'm gonna take a couple steps back for a minute. I think when you look at the Spurs in their matchup they had against OKC, I've been saying I was like, you know what you're going to get out of Wemby. It's the other guys that De'Aaron Fox, Vassell, Champagne, all these guys going off. You can't have that. And I think when you watched Game One against the Knicks, I mean, you saw that Wemby had an okay game, but a lot of those other guys they kind of struggled a little bit throughout the course of the game, and it was able to result in the Knicks being able to come back after being down and winning the game. So I think this is just going to be a whole thing of the role players for the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, the Knicks, they pretty much have five really solid guys. They have good rotation guys off the bench. But yeah, the Spurs, I think it's going to just come down to how those bench guys play.
I love that. Yeah, y'all been saying Knicks is six. That was my little saying from last week on this. But I think I'm not surprised the Knicks took game one. They just have this, especially Brunson. They just have this focused look in their eye, and to
Mhm.
see that, and all of them really stepped up. You've seen Karl Anthony Towns step up. OG, the whole gang. Brunson, taking out all those field goal attempts, and for them, and one thing about the Knicks too, I feel like when they're down, don't underestimate that because they do know how to come back in that fourth and just either take it to OT or take the lead. Now I would say with the Spurs, yeah, I seen the memes making fun of Fox. I don't know if you guys saw the viral thing of Dylan Harper reposting the TikTok about De'Aaron Fox. Shout out to Harper. They're saying Harper should get more minutes. I completely
Sure.
agree. He's doing his thing for a rookie out there first, first playoffs, finals, all that. And yeah, Wimby admitted it wasn't his best game.
Mhm.
Vassell, Castle. I feel like I think, but who I want to give my props to for the Spurs Champagne. Still
Yeah.
showing up. Mhm.
Yep. He really has the whole time because I mean even in that closeout game against OKC,
Mhm.
I mean he was big hitting six threes in that game, and I'm kind of with you. I for Dylan Harper, somebody who was a number two overall pick. Um, I do think next year I think he would have to start getting more minutes over a lot of these guys that are out there right now for the Spurs because I mean he's such a game changer when he comes in and he's able to make shots. I mean like whether it's going to the bucket, hitting big time threes, his mid range. I mean he can pretty much score from wherever on the floor, which is why I've always been a big fan of his game. And I think you can really just see kind of the evolution of him over the course of his rookie year. I know he had some injuries and everything, but from his time playing at Rutgers to now being in the NBA Finals, I mean, he's made a lot of leaps, and I think he's going to be a phenomenal player for their team.
I completely agree. He brings a lot of energy, and they're saying he has a high basketball IQ. I mean, especially too holding Stephon Castle back with that hard foul against Caruso. They were
Hmm.
saying like for him to jump up and know when to step in and take a leap like that. Think it's just those small things that make a team better. So
Yeah,
and add to the chemistry of a team, which makes them play better.
yeah, no doubt. And even like small things. I kind of want to talk about the Knicks because Josh Hart
Mhm.
is another guy who I mean he didn't have his best game last night as far as like scoring and everything, but
Oh, he got them
he's
rebounds
easily
though.
he got them rebounds. Yeah, he's easily one of the best rebounding guards I think I've ever watched, and also he had a lot
Mhm.
of steals down the stretch of the game and just possessions that don't show up on the box score. And I think pretty much anybody who knows basketball knows that's kind of Josh Hart, his MO. He's going to
Mhm.
make those plays that aren't always going to show up,
Mhm.
at the end of the game, but they impact the game. And
Mhm.
he had a lot of those last night, I thought.
Yeah, and shout out to Michael Bridges. He had two steals, I think, in a block, and I know he messed up some parlays, but I feel like he's a really good defensive player. And even if he doesn't have his best scoring, rebound, and assist game, he is very good, very great defender. So I feel like one thing about the Knicks when they come together and they're united, I said this last on the last episode, it is something very powerful and dangerous about them. And I feel like they are underrated. And shout out to New York, for having their moment and stuff right now. So I'm excited to see how game two shows. I have a feeling Spurs might get game two. But if the Knicks get games 2, how do you feel?
If the Knicks win game 2, I think the Knicks are going to end up winning the whole thing, and I would probably
Mhm.
say it might be a sweep or they win it in 5. Because the thing
Oh,
about it is, I don't know how they're going to act going into Madison Square Garden.
oh my goodness! I didn't even think of
The
that.
series would
Right.
have if the series would have to be tied for me to feel good about it. Because if they go to MSG and they're down 2-0, I mean the Knicks wouldn't lose 2 games at home. So the Spurs, so the Knicks could win one tomorrow, and then they could win one of those 2 home games and be up 3-1.
Mhm.
And I mean, in elimination games, I mean, we've seen what the Knicks have done in all these elimination
Yeah.
games. So I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, if I was the Spurs, I wouldn't want to go back to, I mean, go back home down 3-1. I
Mm-mm.
mean, and if let's say you win that home game, game 5, then you got to go back to get Madison Square Garden for game 6. And I mean, I just think tomorrow's game is going to be really the deciding factor
Mhm.
for a lot of things.
Yeah, and I do believe the Spurs have it in them to win tomorrow. Especially, it was a very close game. The Spurs was really actually dominating most of that game, and then it's just really about. But what matters is who could close out the game. You got to lead the
Yeah,
whole game. In that last second, it really depends. So I know they're gonna come with the Heat tomorrow. I saw a post that said I need Wimby to show up ball to the next game, and I know he's locked in. So I'm
yeah.
excited to see what Wimby puts on outfit wise, and just lock it. But I'm rooting for them to win that next game. I do want the Knicks to win the whole thing. Now I saw about that fan running into the into the court.
When that kind of stuff happens, sometimes I
Mhm.
have literally no idea because I know what happened. Was it the Super Bowl too?
Oh, yep.
Or yeah, and it's just like you'll just be watching the game and that kind of stuff happens, and you just have like literally no idea what's even going on, and
Mhm.
that's just so stupid, man. And it's like you had to have been doing something because I know people before have like put bets on like, oh, well, like is there going to be a streaker? Is there going to be
Mhm. That is a
somebody
point.
else? Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, they'll do that kind of stuff, and it's just so stupid, bro. I'm like, you literally are in here for the NBA Finals, and like you just come here acting like an idiot. It's like, what are we doing?
And I feel like it's really not worth it because then you see the picture he took. He got Wimby's chest. That was just
Yeah,
famous picture. And you're banned for life
for
from the
life.
NBA game, and you got arrested. I just feel like as a basketball fan, I would be hurt knowing I can't even go back. And it's for that
It,
moment that doesn't even matter. It's gonna go away, and next week we're not gonna be talking about it.
it's like, what are you doing? Yeah, literally, you're not the first person to ever do this. You're not going to
Mhm.
be the last. And like, what are you getting out of it besides just looking like an idiot?
Mhm.
It's like nothing.
It really
So
and you can injure a player that way. It's a lot of
yeah,
things that come behind that. With running onto the court.
yeah. It's a dangerous thing to do that. And because yeah, I was watching the game and I was like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden I see security and everything, and I'm like, okay, so yeah,
Ooh, yeah. So shout out to him. Yeah, that's a no go. But yeah, I
yeah.
do
You can't.
think, yeah, I'm like, woo. So we'll just have to see. Hopefully, there's no interruptions in the next game, and they can just
Fingers
play, and
crossed.
we can figure out what's gonna happen. But yeah, they gotta. Yeah, I hope Champagne comes back with the Heat. I hope
Hmm.
Fox has a better game next game as well,
Yeah,
and they're gonna get it together for that next game for sure. I do see them going back to Madison Square Garden tied. I see that 1-1,
yeah,
and you see
yeah.
the ticket prices too for that. I think the
I
cheapest is like 2,000 or something. One of the highest is like almost 200,000
yeah. See,
dollars. Um,
that's because of who it is.
yes.
Yeah,
So
that's
would
yeah.
you
I
pay
I would never
that?
watch at home. Even if it was OKC, I'd watch at home. Watch it at home. I'm
Watch
not
it at
doing
home.
that.
You're not down for the cause.
Nope. I'm not. I'm definitely not. I'm
Oh yeah, I'm
definitely
loving
not.
the fan base and stuff. They've been and there's been videos of Jalen Brunson still not smiling, and I love it. They say he's in his Kobe mode right now. I did a tweet earlier. He was looking like a Sith Lord in one of his in his
Yeah,
press conference, and I was like, yeah, that's the energy we need right now.
yeah,
Job
yeah. And I
confidence.
think And I think it was him too who wasn't doing any like promotional stuff with like Larry O'Brien,
Mm,
um, like trophy or whatever. He wasn't doing any of that, which I feel. I mean, it's kind of cool because he's just so focused on trying to win and just get the job done. And yeah, I mean, I think that's I have nothing against that. I think it's awesome.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we will definitely see. I'm looking forward to just seeing how the series goes. I really hope it's an intense one. I really don't
Yeah.
want to sweep. I feel like it's the finals. They fought to be here, but the way that how tense this last game was, I feel like it should be close.
Yeah, and I think what's funny is just the difference in both of these teams. Because I mean, OKC, not OKC, I'm sorry, the Spurs. You look at them going 7 games with OKC, and then on the other hand, the Knicks is absolutely pretty much obliterating everybody. And I mean, like, so you had a sweep in one conference finals, you had 7 games in another conference finals, and I think that just makes for a good finals that we're actually going to get. Because I mean, there's been some pretty boring finals in the last couple of years.
Hmm.
Mainly like 2023, that Nuggets team against the Miami Heat.
Hmm.
2024, you look at Dallas and Boston. I mean, there's been some doozies. So I feel like this is going to be a good one.
Hmm. And what is your final prediction going now? Seeing how game one went, what is like a number? Blah and blah. What are you feeling right now?
Knicks and 6, like
Nixon
you're
six.
saying.
Yeah.
Knicks and
Okay.
6.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
sounds about right.
I really do want to say sweet because I really do feel like the Knicks are going to win tomorrow,
If they win
and I feel
tomorrow,
like those two games it's anywhere between. I mean, even 5 wouldn't be crazy because I really feel
wow.
like
Uh-huh.
because I really do feel like the Knicks could win tomorrow, and if they didn't, I think they could win that first game at MSG. And I mean, at that point, if you're up like 2-1 or something, I could really see the Knicks doing it in like 5 or 6.
And the way that team been playing, I'm trying to tell people. People are like, oh no, no." I'm like, y'all see what the Knicks been doing? I know it's
Dude,
easier teams, perhaps say, yeah, they got they get, you know what I mean? But it's some, I don't know. I said it, I called this earlier. So,
yeah. Well, I think it's kind of similar to when we were recording, or not when we were talking before we started the record about Asia Wilson. I think when you watch
mhm.
certain things in real time,
Yeah.
it's hard to acknowledge how great they are. And I
Hmm.
think even the Knicks, I think it's hard to put into words the kind of run that they're on right now this season
Hmm. Hmm.
because I mean we've seen some really good postseason runs, but the one that they're on right now, I mean, like not losing a game for like 40 something days. You're absolutely sweeping everybody. You're winning your closeout games by more than 30 points. I mean, I think because it's the Knicks and they've been kind of the butt of all the jokes for so long, it's hard to
Hmm.
acknowledge them like as that. I mean, it's what they're doing right now is one of the best postseason runs we've seen in a very long time.
Hmm. Hmm. And I think one thing that makes this final so special too is both teams have a good way of utilizing their role players. Like
They
yeah,
do.
they got their star, but it's like the role players been such a big part of the team for
Hmm.
both teams. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like anyone could get hot at any moment on each side. I
Yeah.
think it makes it very exciting. It's not like I'm gonna say a Laker game, right? Luca just gonna be the hot one, LeBron. It's like this is like different because they all have their hot days. Like Champagne is shining right now, but tomorrow it might be somebody else, on the
Yeah. Well, I
Spurs that
think
had a game.
yeah, and I think even when you look at like Vassell not having really a
Mhm.
great game yesterday, I mean he can come out their game
Oh,
too.
he
I mean
still
we've
turn
seen
up.
it. Yeah, we
Mhm.
saw it against OKC where he might have a really off game and then he comes out the next game and he's somebody totally different. And
Mhm.
I think that's very interesting with the Spurs at least where they do kind of have that one guy might struggle and then come out the next game and score 30 on you. So I think the Knicks though I think they're pretty balanced on what they get. I would say maybe Josh Hart might be the only guy who one game can score 26
Yeah,
or
I can see that him
30.
just stopping.
Yeah, but he'll do other things that impact the game. But pretty much all the other guys like Bridges, Towns, Brunson, OG. I mean, they're all usually pretty like steady in their production.
Yeah, and I have a question too.
Yeah.
So there were people were comparing the
Mhm.
celebrations between the two, like with the Knicks winning the East Conference Finals and the Spurs winning the West Conference. The
Yeah.
Spurs had a more emotional approach. Wemby crying, they were like more like a brotherhood hugging, and then you see the Knicks were more serious, less emotion, and then, they didn't even hang their cup banner up.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about like what's your thoughts on the celebration? Like, do you think that winning a conference finals is that big to be doing all that, or you think it's something you still should just be more serious about? Like, what are your thoughts if you won it?
So so I think that because both of these teams are in very different places, kind of like in their postseason journey, that might be the reason why. Because I mean, the Spurs obviously they're a historic franchise who hasn't really been in the postseason lately. And now they're like the youngest, I think like second youngest team to be in the finals after like the 76, 77 Trailblazers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for them, it's such a big moment and something they've been trying to do for the last couple of years. They've been building towards. I mean, you've gone out and you got Castle, Wemby, all these other guys. You've tried to really do it. And I feel like now you have that moment where you broke through and you beat the defending champs in the conference finals. Where on the other hand, I feel like the Knicks have been trying to take a crack at this for a long time. And they've been coming up short the last few years. And now
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, like we've been to the conference finals before. We've lost the conference finals. Like, we just, so I think because both teams are in very different places, that is kind of why the reaction. Because I did see that too, people talking about that, and I was like, the Spurs are so young. I mean, they're probably super happy that they, have done this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially not being in the league that long at that, and you're
Yeah,
already
exactly.
there. So
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, that was a great one.
Yeah.
Okay.
How did you feel?
Yeah. I mean, I was very happy for the Spurs, seeing them get emotional. I think somebody was saying, bring emotion back, bring passion back. They were saying how teams will lose and be laughing on the bench with their homies, and it's
Yeah.
like, so I admired it, but then I understand the Knicks though, that like we got stuff to do,
Mhm.
stay focused, because sometimes you can get caught up in your emotions. So I think that kind of happened with the Spurs. Like, yeah, they had their celebratory, but then y'all still got work to do. Then bam, the Knicks got it. Just pulled that real
Yeah.
quick. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of
Yeah.
with the Knicks though on that one, but I understand the celebratory part as well.
Yeah, because I mean, you would have to think, the Spurs. Let's say they get back to the conference finals next year and they win it again. I doubt their emotions are
Hmm.
going to be as high because they're
Hmm.
probably like, okay, like let's say they lose the finals this year and they get back to the conference finals next year and win it,
Hmm.
and they're probably not going to be acting the same way, I'd
And
imagine.
they beat the defending champs. We'll give them that too. Y'all beat OKC. Y'all did it. You know what I mean? So I feel like it was a lot of that too. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
you know.
like because I mean, really, when you think about it, I mean, nobody really gave the Spurs a chance. And the thing about it is they were the number two seed.
Hmm.
And that was really like such a toss up series. And I mean, really it started, I thought, okay, so I thought it started out like a really good series. First two games, awesome. And then after that, I don't know what it was. Games like 4 through 7 were just such doozies. And it was just, I'm not gonna say it was hard to watch, but it was one of those things where, I mean, Shea gets a lot of flack for the free throws, but Wemby took a lot of them too. I think it's just maybe the difference in how Shea maybe draws his, but both, I mean, superstars in that were taking a lot of free throws. It was a lot of, not physical playoff basketball like we're used to, besides, a couple maybe hard fouls on like Castle or something. But it was just like kind of hard to watch towards the end. I
Hmm.
don't know. Did you maybe feel that way too, or was it just me?
Well, I didn't want OKC to win, so
Yeah. So you were
so
probably fine with it.
yeah, I was like, okay, it was. I mean, oh, y'all, I went to the bar for Game 7. The crowd,
Yeah.
I mean, LA crowd was
Yeah.
loving it. We was like, it was a vibe. But yeah, I would
Yeah.
say, yeah, I agree with you on that part though too. It just got, but then it was like, I think by Game 7 did give us that feeling anyone could get it, what's
Yeah.
gonna happen. But with them coming in there, like you said, Champagne dropping the 6 threes.
Mhm.
It was just ready. And then, let's talk about Chet though. We gotta talk about Chet though for this. I don't understand the 2 shot attempts, 4 rebounds
Yeah.
in a Game 7. I don't. It's totally unacceptable. They're
Yeah.
saying Wimby broke him, and I
You know?
completely agree with that. Like, I don't know what happened. He was acting all hard with the Lakers. People do that. We get the best team with the when we play the Lakers. But what happened? You said business to handle.
So I think when we were talking before we started recording, because like you'd kind of said it about Vassell, blocking his shot in
Yes.
Game 6,
Yeah.
and start talking trash to him. He didn't even say anything back. He just kind of
No.
stood there and took
Just
it,
look at
and yeah, and I really do think I think they took his soul. I think they took his confidence. I think they took
confidence.
a lot of things from him, and I think now it's on him to say, okay, next year, because Wimby's not going anywhere, the
Mhm.
Spurs aren't going anywhere, and I think it's kind of on him now at this point to say, hey, do I buck up and get better and give this guy, a run for his money, give him a challenge a little bit, or do we have the same thing happen again next year? Because I think in a perfect world, it sounds good to say, okay, let's make all these moves and go get Giannis. And even I am a fan of, that move being made. But also, it's like we have a pretty good roster
Hmm.
where I feel like the Spurs are kind of the only team that's really in the way now. And it's like, okay, Chet, like what can you do to fix this problem? Like, how can you get better? And there were so many times, like there was one point where Wimby had like 5 fouls, I think maybe in game.
Yep, I
Yeah,
remember
and
that.
Chet could have easily attacked him.
Got him out. Hmm.
Just chose not to. Just pass the ball away. Just looking scared. And you know, going only shooting 2 shots in a game 7, a closeout game, it's like, brother, I would have rather you shot one for like 10, one for
Hmm.
15 or whatever. Like I know you're at least like trying to, but like to only take 2 shots in the whole game,
And
can't do
I
that.
never really saw their height difference, and they're not that far away from each other in height. And I
Mm,
was like, oh yeah, what's going on here? And
yeah,
I think too, when you're a center, or like it's a lot of pressure on you, right? In those
yeah.
type of situations. And I think he knew the Spurs was coming hard. And anyway, I'm gonna say this: OKC has won so much. Y'all not used to getting whooped at all and getting
Mm,
beat. So I think when it comes and that challenge arises, I think that Chet felt the pressure. And I just
yep.
feel like he folded instead of like stepping up, like because he's a good player. I don't see nothing wrong with him,
Mm.
but I just feel like this series really was not his strong suit, like at all.
No,
And,
it
he had,
wasn't at all.
mhm,
And the thing that is interesting to me, I think, about Wimby is I don't think Wimby's a great post player.
mhm.
I think Wimby is. I think he has that size. I mean, because hell, look at half the buckets he scores around the basket. There are misses that he's literally just tipping back in, put back dunks, things like that. Like he's not really a guy who is super skilled like on the block. So a
Mhm.
lot of times when he was scoring on Chet, I mean, like has him outside. He's hitting step back threes on him, and I'm just like, it's almost like you're just like not even playing defense, dude. Like you just like, I mean, Caruso was doing a better job
Oh,
on
and
a
he's
Wimby.
shorter, way shorter.
Yeah, yeah. Caruso was doing a much better job on Wimby. So Chet, I mean, like I said, I think trying to go get Giannis sounds good, and I'd be a huge fan of it if they did that. I wouldn't, no complaints. But also, it's like Chet, like they're not going anywhere. The Spurs are going to just keep getting better. Like Wimby's probably only, I would say, excuse me, like probably 85%, 90% of what he's going to actually be. I mean, there's still growth for him. I mean,
Oh
imagine
yes.
if he does get like, you know what I mean? Wimby still has like more he can add for sure.
Hmm. So it's a matter of what. But yeah, shout out to Alex Caruso. He had a really good series. I
Hmm.
feel like he was like one of the main scorers, I would say. And and also
He
Jalen
was.
Williams, the other one, light skinned Jalen Williams.
Yeah,
He stepped up too as well. So
he
it was a cool.
was.
And then Castle was getting hard fouled a lot, and I see why Castle almost crashed out a few times because I was
Oh
kind
yeah.
of rewatching things, and I was like, he was, but Castle's not afraid to dig in and get in that
Mm.
paint. But
Yeah.
he was getting them hard fouls.
Yeah. Yeah. He was getting fouled pretty hard, I thought, which on one hand, I'm glad that you have some of the kind of nostalgic throwback basketball things happening. Like obviously you have rivalries coming back now. You have some of the hard plays and things like that. But also, I mean, you do want to keep the game safe because a couple of them, like when Castle's going up and they're coming up from like behind him,
Mhm.
fouling him when he's going up
Pulling
for
them
a dunk or
down.
something. Yeah, it's like
You see
okay,
what happened to Bam. Yeah,
yeah,
so it's
yeah. It's
not.
like I mean, you do like want to keep it safe, but I do enjoy the physicality like of what's going on in the NBA, especially in the Western Conference right now. I think
It
you
was
have
nice
to.
and physical. I really love that matchup. Like I love when they get mad. They got their passion in their eyes. They're talking mess to each other. It was much needed.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely
So
was.
and then as an OKC fan, how are you feeling? We gotta. I had my therapy session right when the Lakers were out. Your turn.
Yeah. So like I was telling you before, I think, and I've kind of even rethought this after I said it earlier tonight. I think it was something that needed to happen,
Hmm.
but also it's like, did we need it to happen to make moves or because I thought like, okay, OKC loses, you're gonna pack a bunch of guys up, pack a bunch of picks, try to go get Giannis or somebody else who's like another threat on the wing, somebody who can handle the ball and score like when Shea goes out or something. That was kind of my initial thought. But now I'm thinking about it and it's like, okay, but who could that be? What do we have to do? Is it a matter of Chet, having to own up and kind of face, what he's doing? Because I thought about Golden State, where they won their one title in 15, similar to OKC. Then they lost the next year. Then they went out and got Katie and won two more. And I was like, could OKC be on that trajectory of where they
Mhm.
lost their one and they go get Giannis and maybe win one or two more? But I just I just think the Spurs, they're just such an anomaly, like with Wemby and everything else. And I don't know if Giannis moves that needle. I want to think he does, but I mean, like with a whole new roster and everything else, I mean, like, would we have those bench guys coming in that second unit? I mean, our whole team could look different.
Yeah, and I think I always said this. That's what makes OKC a very powerful team. Is you have a very strong bench. You know, it's like
Hmm.
Shea could take the star players could take their rest, go get on the bench, and someone like Wooty Woo could come out and just still fight darting threes on everybody. You know, so yeah, if
Yeah,
you make, I feel like you make a change, but not too many because I was like, yeah, then when you lose that bench, that's gonna you don't want a Laker situation where it's like,
yeah,
you know, we don't have nobody to rely on when Shea or whatever is out or Jalen Williams or somebody like that is out. So that's where this
yeah.
true.
That was kind of my thing too. Why I was a little more hesitant on making any changes because, kind of like we were saying earlier, I mean, when you're missing AJ Mitchell and Jalen Williams, I mean that's like almost 40 points right there that you're not getting. And similar to the Lakers, when you're missing Luca, I mean Luca, that's 37, 38 points you're not getting right there. And it's hard when you don't have those pieces because I mean OKC it was like outside of Caruso, Case on Wallace couple games. I mean it was very spotty
Mm-hmm.
in the production. I mean McCain would go off some games. Then game seven he's just like non-existent. Hartenstein would have a good game. He would really
Get
D
his
up
10
on
points.
Wimby. Yeah, and then he wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
do anything. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean
So
they
it's
just have to be a
really
little more consistent.
I did see it satisfying though the OKC coach getting mad at the refs. I was like, you
Oh
just
yeah.
see what other people, other coaches been feeling like this whole season. So that
Oh
he had a
yeah.
moment where he kind of crashed out. I was like,
Yeah.
because I actually admire how calm he is. I like when the camera goes on him. He's already
Oh
just
yeah.
sitting there chilling, and then oh no, no, see him break character. I was like, oh, like you
Yeah.
know, so that was interesting for me. I would say
Yeah, he's a pretty calm
he's
person.
like
I feel
really
like
well
overall.
rounded.
Yeah, he's very calm until game seven's on the line and things aren't going your way. Because I mean, you got to think about that block Cornette had. I mean, there were just so many games down the stretch the Spurs had, or plays down the stretch the Spurs had that
Oh,
were
talking
just, I
about
mean,
Cornette,
dictated by the
yeah. Oh
play.
my goodness. It was just, I mean, they were all showing up. You didn't with the Spurs too, but like I said, that's what makes them great too. They got a
Hmm.
good bench too. So I think like those are gonna be
Yeah,
the most intense series when it's like that. Like you don't know who
yeah,
going off and what's gonna
yeah.
happen. And you know,
You're,
I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I saw a comment that said, what is it? Balance has been restored in the galaxy. So we're
yeah,
good.
it
So
has.
I was like,
I think what would really be funny is if next year we had a different team that like we're just not even thinking of, like
hmm,
come out of the West. But really, I don't see another team coming out of the West that we wouldn't expect. I feel
you
like
wouldn't expect, yeah, no.
yeah, it would have to be somebody like the Clippers who are just one of those like
Uh, we're stop.
mid level teams that you're just not thinking about like at
It's
all,
gonna be a while for
or the
that.
Mavericks. One of
You
those
know.
teams like coming out of the West next year, but I don't think that'll happen.
No, I think, yeah, I think it's gonna be one of the same, or the same kind of cycle that's been
Like
happening.
four or five
Yeah.
teams.
Hmm.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
already
I really,
know.
I do feel bad for Sacramento King fans right
Oh
now,
my goodness.
though.
Ooh. Hey,
I
go ahead,
mean,
explain
they,
it for the listeners out there.
yeah. So basically, I mean, Mike Brown's in the finals. He was their coach. They fired him. De'Aaron Fox. They traded
Yep.
him. He's in the finals now. I know how Luca was in the finals not too long ago. I know they passed up on him in the drafts. Who else? There was like a whole laundry list of things that they had like done over like the last couple of years, and it's like basically backfired on them. Yeah, I mean they're struggling right now, and I really thought Sacramento was a team maybe 2 3 years ago.
Yeah, some
It's like
years
okay,
ago.
they're yeah they're on the they might be good now, and now it's just like back to square one.
Guess we'll have to see what happens with the draft and trades and just kind of see what next season brings. But I'm just like, wow. So, OKC's out and we just have to kind of see
See
now
this
who takes it
game two.
now.
Yeah,
Game two.
yeah, yeah.
So you
Two really
guys,
good franchises.
two really good, yeah, really good
Yeah,
franchises. So let's
yeah,
let's see what happens. But yeah, you guys, we'll be back with another episode covering the finals. So
yep. See you guys next time.
see ya.